Item 3 refers to the following parallelogram. WXYZ in the parallelogram, XY is equal to U and XW is equal to V. Excellent. R is the midpoint, the middle point. Anytime you'll see midpoint, it means that letter is in the middle, which means it divides the line or the vector in this case in half, equal parts, two equal parts. So sometimes you have to kind of read through the line, okay? So they are asking us for vector RW expressed in terms of UV. I need you all to send me the vector equation. What is the vector equation that you all would use for RW? What is the RV? RW. Send me the vector equation. Now, if some of you are thinking you know the answer, fine, go through. But if you're not sure, make sure and send me the vector equation first. So I am waiting on you all to see if you all will get it. Okay. Anybody else? Did anybody, the person who sent me that answer, who I just replied to, that was only one person sent me an answer thus far. So it's yourself, right? Send me the vector equation. I want to see what vector equation you use, please. Send me the vector equation. No. Don't say picking on you all that, but you're supposed to be revising these things, eh? Especially people who quiet and hiding in the background there. They're not going to save you in an exam and oh, mm, RW. What? Some of you are giving yourself real thunder with this boy. Anyways, when they don't, where's RW? They didn't even draw that, so I would first draw it, right? From R to W. Okay, I will draw in the vector. And based on what this vector is, there are two sets of vector equations you all could create. But if I were you, I go in the easiest route. The easier route. Okay. Mm. So the reason why I'm asking, anyway, I'll do just now, just reply to this Lisa. Yeah, the reason why I was asking for the vector equation, it will show me what you're doing. So if we're going from R to W, oh my, it's still on this arrow thing here, boy. Sorry. Now I'm on doing the wrong thing that I don't want to do. Right. RW. Oh my. This drama. All that drama, boy. Remember, you start from R, you always go another route. So we could have gone from R to Y. But if you're going from R to Y, let me just double check something. I think let me just double check something here. Oh, so I now realize what you put there. So sorry, that could work, but that's too long. I'm not doing that. You can go from R to Y, but that's too much drama. I would prefer to go from R to Z and then continue from Z to W. That's the fastest way. That's the shortest way too. So going this way, right? Starting from R going to Z. Remember, they told us that, let me ask you all, I need you all to wake up a little bit right now. If X, this is a parallelogram, right? In a parallelogram, opposite sides are equal and parallel. So if, or since X, I'm taking all the wrong thing, but anyways, since XW is V, what is YZ? What is YZ? But I thought we don't, well, I thought we don't know what WZ, WZ, well, just hold on. We do know what we lack info. Well, at least you think you lack info, but I see that I understand where you're coming from, right? You could use that, what you sent me there is correct. You could actually use it when I double check it just all right. But even though you think you lack info because you don't really know much about the properties of a parallelogram. So as I just said, I'll say it again. Opposite sides in a parallelogram are equal and parallel. So I'm asking the question, if X heading down to W is V, what is Y heading down to Z? As Y heading down to Z, that's, you need to be careful. Oh boy, what are you sending me here in the chat? So Y heading down to Z is also V. So let me write it on the side, right? Starting from X going down to W's R. So also starting from Y heading down to Z will be R because it's a parallelogram and opposite sides are parallel and equal. I'm going to ask the same question again because I feel some people sleeping in my class and that's unacceptable. So if X to Y is U, what is Y to Z? No, Y, W to Z, sorry. As I said before, opposite sides in a parallelogram are parallel and equal. I wanted to know if I was talking to myself. Okay, sorry, yeah. I just wrote the wrong thing, my bad. I was trying to paste it and I just didn't hold on control, so that's why B came through. Yeah, so W Z is U. So in other words, this side is also U, this other side is V. So that is why you could use this one as well, because opposite sides are the same length. And even though they give us the letters to represent the length, if one side is equal to R, other side is equal to, not R, why plus R is V? Where I get R from? Uh, um, What's a nonsense, boy? Okay, so this is equal to V, this is equal to V. Sorry. I don't know why I read R. Oh, it's that it was looking like R, I don't know. So using it with this, RZ, and RZ is in the same direction with WZ. I need you all to know that. WZ, not WZ, that's how YZ is heading down. And similarly is R to Z, which is a line on W, not W, Y, Z. Let me say that again. The line YZ is heading down. as in it starts from Y and heading down to Z. And same thing with R that is on Y is also heading down to Z. So both of them are heading in the same direction. So all we have to do to find RZ, we just need to find a half of YZ because RZ is on the same vector or line as YZ. And we know that YZ is V. So a half of YZ is a half V. So that's for this part here. I know these algebraic vectors can be a bit, right? Given that we could take another route. Are there two answers? No. Two answers. The both routes will give you the same exact answers if you know what you're doing, right? Yes, the both routes will give you the same exact answers if you know what you are doing. D looking respectable. D is just a trick version of E. Anyways, they just do that. Sometimes they put two answers that are close and one of them is correct and the other one is wrong. Okay. That's why they're trying to make the answer options difficult, you know. But yeah, once you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. Add. So now where is ZW? So ZW is this one below here, right? I have so much other lines going on here. I'm gonna take off some of these lines. I'm gonna take off those two, right? So ZW is U. And we have right here. So we will add U. Okay, let me just make sure, right? ZW. And in fact, it starts from R. It starts from R and going to W. So yes, we went from R to Z, which I just got as a half V, and then adding to that CW. Oh, CW is not U actually. ZW is negative. I not realize what going on here. So I'll explain from that part, right? So this is negative U. So why is it negative and not positive? Because I now realize that because I'm like, what going on here? Something not right. This vector actually started from X to Y. As we see in this arrow that's right here. It's the arrow will tell us where it's headed down to. So it started from X to Y. So X to Y is U, which means that, sorry, which means that W in the same direction, W heading down to Z is U. So I now realize I wrote the wrong thing there. So for those of you who know opposite vectors, yeah, that I showed you all for those who were in that class, because I know at least one person was not in that class. But for those who at least know opposite vectors, we know that ZW, because we heading, based on this vector, we have to head ZW, not WZ. We go in the opposite direction, right? So the opposite vector will be negative U, right? Um, okay. So just drawing back this whole thing, it was RW is a vector we're dealing with. So we had to start from R. R is the start point, head on to Z, and then you end up by W. So the ZW is heading in the opposite direction of XY. So we will use the same letter U because it is the same size, but it will change the sign. So since U is positive when it's going from X to Y, and similarly from W to Z, when we go in the opposite direction with the same vector, which means the start point changes. So the start point is now from Z heading down to W. The sign will go from a positive U to a negative U. So yeah, that's obviously minus U here. Let me just double check and make sure it's correct. Yes, so the answer is finally correct. It is A. Okay. That would be negative half. Negative, where you get negative half from? Negative a half, no. The only how that could possibly end up as negative a half is if you were going this direction, but it will still not remain negative though. Now, for people who don't know vectors, I don't know what to say. I could just say, sorry for you, but normally when I teach in vectors, as those of you who were in my vectors class when I did that, I think when I first did vectors with you, was it in October or November? I can't remember. Whatever.